Luke Bryan is a country music superstar, and when you see him at events or on social media, Luke's popular wife Caroline is often right there by his side. But you might not know something crazy about one of Nashville's most beloved couples. It's the unbelievable breakup story of Luke and his wife. Luke and Caroline's beachfront wedding photos in the Caribbean are sweet and stunning, but those happy pictures don't reveal the shocking truth about Caroline and Luke. Luke was in his senior year at Georgia Southern University when he first spotted Caroline Boyer. She was a freshman at the school, and they were both at the same bar one night. Later on, Luke revealed something insane about Caroline. He said it only took a few seconds to realize that she was the girl he wanted to grow old with. That sounds unbelievable, and for Luke, love at first sight felt too crazy to believe. The truth was, he couldn't handle it. He didn't even know how to approach Caroline at first, so Luke sent over a friend to say hi to her for him. Luke also admitted he did something stupid to get the courage just to talk to Caroline. He drank too much and faked the confidence to make a move. Caroline might not have realized the insane way Luke felt about her, but she was as equally terrified that night at the bar. That's because Caroline had never been in a bar before. Thankfully, Luke did not screw it up, even though he had too much to drink. According to Caroline, Luke acted like a charming gentleman when they first met, and after that night in the bar, they started to hang out. But Luke and Caroline were not a couple right away. They were apparently just friends for 2 weeks. Luke must have been too tongue-tied at first to tell Caroline how he really felt about her, but that wasn't stopping Caroline. She admitted later that Luke stayed charming too, and it made Caroline do something crazy. She confessed that Luke had won her heart. So the country girl, who had never been to a bar before meeting Luke, did something unbelievable. She kissed him first. After making her intentions clear with that shocking move, Luke and Caroline soon shared kiss number 2. They were inseparable after that and dated for a year and a half. At that point, Luke was getting ready to graduate. He decided to head to Nashville to try and break into country music, while Caroline was staying behind in Georgia to finish her degree. For many couples, that would mean a breakup. It would make sense for Luke to break up with Caroline, but you won't believe what happened instead. It was Caroline who broke up with Luke first. Her reason why is crazy. According to Caroline, Luke was always talking about marriage. She loved Luke, but for Caroline, it was more like a college romance. Caroline was still in school and not ready to settle down so fast. She later confessed how crazy Luke was acting before graduating, and it freaked Caroline out. And her fear got so bad that she was forced to do something insane. She ended it with Luke. Years later, Caroline gave a shocking interview about what went wrong with Luke the first time they dated. You won't believe Caroline's version of the night she met Luke. Caroline explained what was so terrifying about being in the bar for the first time. She revealed how sheltered she'd been growing up in small town Georgia. Caroline also confessed she had only had one boyfriend during her entire time in high school. Then, in her first week at college, Caroline got taken to a bar. And when she met Luke, Caroline admitted that she just stared at him. She thought he was adorable, and Caroline could tell that Luke had a big personality. So if you're wondering if that country singing judge on American Idol is for real, Caroline will tell you that's how Luke acts all the time. But she remembered thinking to herself that first night, is this guy for real? Even though Caroline made the first real move on Luke, when he started talking about marriage before he graduated, she knew she wasn't on the same page as him. You won't believe how Caroline ended it with Luke either. Although her friends and family assumed that Caroline and Luke broke up on good terms, Caroline later described the breakup as horrible. She told Luke it was over during the Christmas break of her sophomore year, even though she knew deep down that Luke was the greatest guy she would ever date. Afterward, Luke headed off to Nashville. That didn't mean he was gone from Caroline's life altogether. She admitted that they occasionally stayed in touch. They would email each other every once in a while because there was no Facebook or texting yet. Luke's music career was taking up all of his time. He sometimes came through Caroline's town to do gigs on the weekend. When Luke was in town, Caroline sometimes went and saw him play. Caroline called it a messed up situation. She said that she and Luke would hug after his shows, but then they would go their separate ways. And as far as Caroline knew, her romance with Luke was over. Caroline admitted to having 2 other serious boyfriends during her time apart from Luke, and she knew he was dating other people too. One girlfriend that Luke had made Caroline so angry that she stormed out of her own house. Luke was staying in touch alright, and he must have wanted to make Caroline a little bit jealous. He was also friends with Caroline's brother, Bo Boyer. One night he showed up at a party at the Boyer house. Luke did not show up alone. He had his new girlfriend with him. Caroline was enraged, and she left them behind at her house. I don't think Luke wanted Caroline to react by leaving, but that's what happened. Fate took more than 5 years to bring Luke and Caroline back together. together. Caroline was working as a pharmaceutical rep. She was on the road for weeks at a time. One night, as fate would have it, Luke was playing a show in the same town where Caroline was working. Bo told Caroline that Luke was playing a gig. Caroline confessed later that she tried to act casual when her brother mentioned Luke. She told Bo she would go and see Luke perform for an hour. But as she watched Luke up on stage, a crazy thought went through Caroline's mind. She said something was different, and it struck her that she and Luke were adults now. When Luke went on a break from performing, Caroline waited in the audience. But you won't believe what Luke did. Caroline thought he was avoiding her because he never came over or even said hello. So Caroline left the bar where Luke was playing. Then, at 2 o'clock in the morning after Luke's gig, he called her in the middle of the night. Caroline was shocked by what Luke said to her during that crazy conversation. He asked Caroline, "Where did you go?" So Caroline told him the truth. She said to Luke, "I'm sorry, I had to leave." Caroline let him have it a bit too. She told Luke, "I thought that you didn't want to see me." Caroline also reminded Luke why she had to leave. She had to be up by 6 a.m. for her job. After that crazy night, Caroline and Luke began to communicate by email again. They met up at Christmas, and soon it became official. They were a couple again. Caroline later revealed what happened next. Although she said she was now ready for marriage, Caroline was not prepared for Luke's proposal. She went away for 2 weeks to work in Indiana. When she returned home, Luke was waiting outside. Caroline remembers that Luke had shaved, and she thought something crazy. Caroline said that Luke never shaved, so she knew something was up. Luke was also dressed up nicely, and he began playing their favorite college songs. Then Luke did something unbelievable. He put a blindfold on Karen and told her he was taking her for a surprise dinner. But moments later, Luke told Caroline he wanted to show her a house first. Caroline admitted that Luke had been talking about buying a house, so she wasn't too shocked by that. But after Luke drove them somewhere and they got out, Caroline took off her blindfold. Luke was on one knee with Caroline's engagement ring in his hand. Luke and Caroline got married in Turks and Caicos in 2006. And through Luke's career highs and personal tragedies, the Bryan family seems stronger than ever. Still, it's crazy that Luke and Caroline almost didn't make it. But what do you guys think? Should Caroline have broken it off when she did? Do you like them as a couple?